We have with us today to swear in or induct into our organization Mark Douglas Foster. And the process is that we will go through the ceremony, and at the end of it, we'll give him a chance to tell us a little bit about his patriot. So,
Okay. All right, Mark, would you raise your right hand, please? Having been accepted as a member of the Dallas chapter of the Texas Society of the Sons of the American Revolution, do you, as a descendant of one of the patriots and heroes of the American Revolution, reaffirm your ancestors' faith in the principles of liberty and our constitutional republic?
I do.
And will you pledge to support the patriotic, historical, educational objectives of the National Society, Sons of the American Revolution?
I will.
I now take pleasure in presenting you your membership certificate. And I understand that without other people in the family here, that Mr. Pinkerton is going to give you the rosette.
and you right here. This rosette is the buff and blue, which are the SAR colors, and they're the colors of the uniform of General George Washington. Congratulations.
Thank you, Joe.
The Patriot, we welcome you to the Dallas chapter. We ask that you work with us to fulfill the purposes and objectives of the Sons of the American Revolution. At this time, we'd like to invite you to address our members present about your ancestor and whatever thoughts you may have about him.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Mark Foster. A little bit about my family first before I'm the Patriot. I have 4 children. I have 3 daughters and a son who's 15, and he goes to Jesuit right down the street. I live at Forest and Inwood. And he and his mom had to go to a golf event out of town today, so they weren't able to meet me here today. But my father, who's 91 years old, lives in Oak Cliff, and that's where I grew up, in Oak Cliff. He was born in 1928, and he couldn't make it here either. He doesn't get out of his house these days. But he's also a member of the Sons of American Revolution, and so that's part of the reason, I got interested in it, the organization. And he grew up in Haskell, Texas. Haskell is about 60 miles north of Abilene, and so he lived there, and he moved here, and I have 4 brothers and sisters, and we all grew up in Oak Cliff. And so my father, Arthur Foster, he grew up there. His father, Arthur Foster, born in about 1896, was also in Haskell County, and then his father, Arthur Foster, was also in Haskell County, and that was in the about 1860s. Several years ago, 15-something years ago, my dad asked me to essentially buy the inheritance that I was going to be getting from him of a lot of farmland that he had in Haskell County. And so when I got those deed records, my family actually got the land originally from the state of Texas. My original great-grandfather had gotten that land, and so it was pretty interesting because I'd lived in 4 houses in 10 years here in Dallas, and so I was like somebody that actually has a long history of staying in the same place was a little bit unusual for me. But anyway, back to my Patriot. Before the state of Texas, I did a little bit of research on it, and it tracks back to Colonel John Foster. And Colonel John Foster was actually born in 1760, and he fought in the Revolutionary War. But his father, who was born in 1732, they were from Southampton, Virginia, the southeast portion of Virginia, and they lived there. And so his father, who was in his early 40s, they were in the militia in Virginia. He was a lieutenant in the militia, but looking at, there's a lot written about Colonel John Foster. He wasn't a colonel in the actual Revolutionary War. He got to be a colonel rank after he fought in the Indian Wars after the Revolutionary War. And so I was thinking I was going to come here and tell you about the battles that he was in, and I was going to research those battles. But what ended up happening is they fought in some battles together, and John and his brother James were on a boat, and a British warship came early in the conflict, and they were captured, and they were taken by ship to Bermuda, and they stayed for a couple of years in Bermuda, I guess, until there was a prisoner exchange towards the end of the war, and they brought him back, and he got back and met his father, Arthur Foster, at the Battle of Yorktown when he got back. And so I can't tell you much about what he did because he spent his time in the prisoner of war camp that they had back in that period of time. So that's it.
Thank you for that. I've already gone over with him that we're giving him this challenge coin, and you might explain a little bit for him what a challenge coin is.
As the story goes, during World War I, there was a group of pilots that had a lot of camaraderie because they were losing a lot of their compatriots as they went out to fight. So they put together a little group of people, and they had these coins minted, and they put them in a brown sack around their neck, and they flew off to fly over Germany. One of them was shot down and captured by the Germans, and somehow was repatriated over into the French. Now the French didn't speak English and vice versa, but the only thing they recognized was this little pouch, and when they saw it and saw the coin, they realized who they had, and the French brought him back to the United States lines, and he was repatriated and became a veteran of the World War I. Since that time, challenge coins have been issued throughout the military and other services all over the world, and this is one for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
And by the way, you want to carry it, because if you're ever out with Pinkerton or Whitelock or one of these guys around here that have these, and you're sitting and having an adult beverage, and somebody puts the coin on the table, if you don't have your coin, you're buying. Don't laugh, you're next.
I'll remember that.
All right.
Thanks, Mark.
Very good.
Thanks.